This is a 3-minute message brought to you by Redemption Church in Delray Beach.
In chapter 3 of Philippians, Paul takes a moment to just remind us of the gospel. And reminders are extremely important. Paul even says to them to write the same things to you are of no trouble to me. He's aware that he's just going over old ground, that he's reminding them things they already know. Peter does the same thing in his book. To his readers, Peter says that, I know you're aware of these things, but way of reminder, I want to remind you again. I want to tell you again. I want these things to be on your hearts, to be on your minds. And so Paul, doing the same thing, he says, I want to remind you of the gospel, that our salvation comes by grace through faith alone. That no matter how good you've been, you need Jesus. And no matter how bad you think you've been, God can still save you. God can still restore you. God can still heal you. And these things are good for us to remember. So often we think if we've heard something once, we've maybe understood it, that it's a waste of time to review again. But the Bible over and over again reminds us of truths and says that this is important for us to go over, to remember, to be reminded. And so he restates some very important truth, and then he reminds us of the implications of them. He says, well, now that we have been saved, let us press on. Let us not forget our high calling that he called us to in chapter 1, or the way we achieve that, which is being near to Jesus, that he reminds us in chapter 2. And so may you strive on, but may you not forget why. May you not just be, as he describes in Corinthians, beating your fists in the air for no purpose, or running the race where it seems like there's no goal. May you know that you're striving to the end, but it's because of the gospel that we are. It's because of God's grace in your life that we take a breath every day and we're excited to follow after Jesus and to see what God would have for us today. And so may you not forget those fundamental truths, those things that are so necessary for us to remember. Just take a moment and reflect and remember on what God has done, on how no matter what you've done yesterday, God's grace is here for you today. That we need God's grace no matter how good we are, and that we're never too far from his grace no matter what we've done. And so move on today, excited, knowing that God has great plans for you, that he has great purposes for you, and it's all based on, and it's all because of this gospel that we get to enjoy.